We are at Gamescom 2024. We've just played Atomfall. Let's talk about it.
It's immediately become one of the most intriguing games I've seen at Gamescom so far this year. The first impression that a lot of people got when they saw the original trailer was like, oh, it's like Fallout in the UK. There's like a little bit of that, but it's much more akin to something like S.T.A.L.K.E.R, but immediately I feel like it's found its own style, gameplay loop, and sort of sense of self. Without, like, the comparisons will definitely be there, and I think they will continue to come across development, but it's not quite like anything I've played before. It's weird, and I want to see more of it.
Yes, so you and I differ slightly on this. I got big Fallout vibes from it, and it's even to the extent where we were basically placed in a kind of open environment. We're about an hour into the main game, is what they told us. And I think the way the game works is that there are kind of large Sniper Elite style maps that then connect to each other. So it's not one continuous open world, but what you get in that is they called them dungeons, I think. There are like little bunkers and caves and things like that around the area that you can go up to. And the thing that really gave me Fallout vibes is you like go up to the door and then you enter it, there's a loading screen. So it's not like the most fluid or kind of continuous experience, but that doesn't really matter. It is, I think one of the things that really sticks out to me about it is how strong its sense of place is. Obviously Rebellion are, a British at heart developer. You and I are British. I would say that the north of England is a severely underrepresented area in games, apart from Thank Goodness You're Here, which was, very tonally different experience, I would say, to Atomfall. But yeah, it's like this big kind of ruined, imagine the Zone.
Well, they call it the Zone. You're in like a quarantine zone. This pocket of England is safe from whatever is out there.
There is also like a big kind of post-nuclear reactor meltdown kind of funnel of energy on the horizon. And it's another thing that's quite interesting about this is that obviously you can kind of make some assumptions about the sort of game it is. There are kind of factions of quite weird anarchic gangs and things like that that we saw. There was also, you and I had kind of quite strikingly different experiences just from going off in slightly different directions from the start of the demo that we played. Like, I ended up in a cave, I saw a little village, then I went in a bunker and saw these kind of like slightly reptilian zombie guys. I came out and told you that. You hadn't seen any of that.
But I had seen giant robots defending this little village. And literally, like, the divergence point was so minor between where we went in this level. We opened up, you answer this phone and this mysterious voice is saying Oberon must die. I think that's going to play into the wider story. What the wider story is yet isn't super clear. Is massively intriguing, and I'm very excited to find out about it. My experience was, I come down this path, there's a couple of outlaws, they're running at me with cricket clubs. I have a rusty revolver in my hand with like 3 bullets, took one down, the other one's wailing on me with their cricket bat, and immediately my health like falls. It feels very punishing, both in like how much damage you take, the weapons that are available to you. A lot of them are very slow firing, single shot. It was like a single barrel shotgun, a revolver with a few rounds. And again, they're very clearly remnants from like before whatever event happened. They're all rusty, falling apart, not something super reliable. I fight through this train yard and I get to this enormous concrete wall, and through it is a place called Wyndham Village. Go through this door, greeted by these very sort of weird British soldiers, welcome me into the town. I thought, oh, I'll have a little explore. What a quaint, lovely village. Walk on the wrong patch of grass and this robot just goes red and closes the gap. I was like, okay, don't step on the grass, I guess. I was like, oh, I'll take a little break in this church. someone's been murdered in the church. I start talking to the vicar. I look at the body. All of a sudden the game says, oh, there's a new thread for you to follow if you want to solve this murder. Go to this hotel. And that was the thing that I think we both found a few times is through natural exploration and going to these points of interest, you get these things called threads, and you can sort of choose to follow those down to a point of interest, to a character. And I saw no culmination of them, but in the time that we played, I think we both had like about an hour. I discovered like 5 of them. The other path I went to was a helicopter crash, and there was a bandit visibly pissing in the river. So I throwing knife him, and all of a sudden there's another dead soldier. There's a key. They're talking about some safe house or some cache that you can go and find. The sense of exploration, I think, is going to be key to Atomfall, both because the world itself is very intriguing, but the ruined buildings that we found were, there'd be little like small gaps that you were able to squeeze through, and behind there would be a towel, some scraps, some nuts and bolts. At one point, I was trying to loot this old ruined cottage, and there was shotgun traps and booby traps, and I was trying just trying to get a crumb of scrap, open a box and there's 3 bullets, and I'm like, okay, that's the only 3 that I have now. I have to approach combat very differently because it's got the Stalker-esque thing of a headshot is going to take down your enemy most likely. It's probably going to happen to you too, but you're under the same danger. A few shots from a rifle, you're going to go down very quickly. And those resources are going to be so important, which leads to the loop of exploration. And I think you are going to be rewarded with that because the world, it's just, I don't know, it's so intriguing to me. It really has, that little taste really has made me want to see more.
It did feel very unforgiving. They warned us before the demo that they're like, the combat is quite serious, taken seriously, or yeah. The thing that I liked the most was, I'm a sucker for kind of like sci-fi, weird fiction, mystery stuff. And like we said, the first thing you do in this demo that we played at least is red phone box and this guy, voice saying, "Overall must die." We also had an objective, not something that we were expected to finish during the demo, but
just a path for us to go down.
Yeah, which was to find something called the interchange. And it's not even exactly clear what that is. There's no kind of, here it is where you're going on the map. Like you said, you can find notes and clues and things like that. I found one among the wreckage of an army vehicle that there'd been a landslide and the truck had been caught up in it, and there was a soldier lying dead. And the note on his body was it wasn't even here's the location. It was there's a rumor that the interchange might be here, right? Another bunker that I went in, there was the dead body of a scientist or a soldier or whatever, who the note on his thing, which was his diary or a letter or something, was God, I got to get out of this place. I need to get back to the interchange because that's where the real work is happening and whatever. So I'm this is all exactly my sort of...
And I found a few notes referring to places like the interchange or some other points of interest on the map. And the map, it won't, it won't put a waypoint on the map. You sort of have to suss out from context clues where that place could be, where that, they mentioned the rail yard. And if you've been there, you can see, oh yeah, I know that's the rail yard. It's not telling you what room to go in. It's not telling you what door to unlock. It is very much that sort of Stalker-esque level of exploration. You're gonna have to read, you're gonna have to suss stuff out yourself so you can find exactly where you need to go. And going back to the village that I went to as well, I think you would have really resonated with that area because it again opened up and all these soldiers were there. Oh, safe place. But every civilian I spoke to, it sounded very untrusting of the army and their toy soldiers. But I went to talk to someone in the shop, and it felt like a very sort of quaint British village shop. But he was selling grenades and guns and rifle pieces and weapons and stuff. But there was no currency. I wanted a grenade. So I had to give him X amount of things that was worth a grenade. So it's got that sort of post-apocalyptic barter system That it's not going to rely on caps. It's not like Metro that relies on bullets. It is, I have this. Is this enough for you to give me a fragmentation grenade? If not, well, I guess I ain't having it. But hey, take my sickle and rusty revolver and I will take that grenade.
Yeah.
And it was a small thing, but a lot of post-apocalyptic games or, games of that nature that try to do a barter system, they add extra layers to it. And I actually like the simplicity of that, of just tangible stuff that you feel okay with parting with to get something back. In Fallout, you're like, oh, I don't want you to give. In Fallout, you might feel like you don't want to give away your weapons to get a new piece of armor. So here's a load of caps. But again, I think playing into that Stalker-esque survival nature, the game seems to want to push you towards not getting too attached to your consumables, your items, if you want, these new things out of the world. Or like I said, you explore for it and just try your luck, or craft it. There's a couple of moments where I found enough materials to craft a Molotov cocktail. So it has a lot of these survivor elements, but the package itself feels so unique. And again, super intriguing.
The one thing I would say is that there's a lot of systems going on there. And from what I could tell, it's not really a game where, akin to something like, I don't know, a Dishonored or Breath of the Wild even, where I didn't get much of a sense of whether you can play off all these systems against each other. In one of the caves that I was in, there was a booby trap, like you said, which was attached to a Molotov cocktail, and you can throw your melee weapon, so I threw it, and it triggered the tripwire and set off this explosion. And I wanted to get a chest that was on the other side. And a fire started, but the fire didn't spread or go anywhere, right? So it's I don't know how kind of interactive the world is. It's hard to tell from the very brief glimpse of gameplay that we had, really. But it's definitely intriguing, and we can't really say anything about quality, we're not reviewing it or anything, and it's very early in terms of what they've shown. It comes out next year. We don't know exactly when. I think maybe March. Yeah,
aiming for March.
So it's quite weird because it's not like a game, especially because it's a new IP. It's almost I'm finding it almost a little bit hard to gauge how finished is it? How representative is what we've seen of the kind of finished product? It's basically impossible for us to know. Right?
For sure, but I think that for me, I'm super excited to see more. It's really, really got its hooks in me, very, very quickly. And yeah, they're aiming for 2025 around March time. So until then, we're just gonna have to make you stay tuned.
Yeah, keep an eye on GameSpot.com and YouTube.com/GameSpot.